Commentary, entertainment, and sports. Steve and his team bring you the latest news and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, I'm Rob Astorino in for Steve. He'll be back next week, and we're continuing our conversation on the Malzberg panel about HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and how they are not just intruding, but basically invading the suburbs of America, starting in my county, Westchester County. They're now in Nassau County on Long Island, and they're coming to a county near you. And with us right now, columnists for Breitbart.com and American thinker, C. Edmund Wright, and the president of the Galen Institute, Grace Marie Turner. So Grace Marie, this seems to me like this is just the executive branch run amok. I mean, and I don't know how to restrain them because Congress right now is kind of impotent, split in their house. And you got the courts that it takes a long time to get to them, but they also have very liberal judges. What do we do? Is it just waiting out the clock for the next 2.5 years until this administration leaves?
Well, certainly we have to do that. But I do understand that there are several members of the House of Representatives that are going to try to put a stop on the funding because HUD can't do this without any money. And that's really going to be a strategy. If Republicans take the Senate in November, one of the main things they can do is defund the federal government. If they don't have any money to go after to implement these ultra-liberal programs, which is what this is, then it really stops them in their tracks. So we've got to be able to stop them by basically defunding these efforts. If they're going to try to build Section 8 housing in the middle of Chappaqua, New York, then that's going to take some money to do that. And if they don't have the funds, then we do have time for the legal battles, which is certainly would show what incredible overreach this is of federal power to get into local decision making.
And, you know, look, I want to be clear on one thing, by the way. We are not opposed in any way, shape, or form to building affordable housing. In fact, Westchester County, as have many counties and municipalities around the country, built and have built and are going to continue to build and are building affordable housing in various ways. But for the federal government to dictate how, where, and when that will be done is way above board. And in the last 30 seconds or so, C. Edmund Wright, how do we stop this? Because it's gone through the courts, and sometimes you get judges that say, no problem with this.
Yeah, like, you're not going to stop it, you know, until we do get someone else in the White House. You know, this is just like Obamacare, you know, controlling everything about our health care. The federal government trying to control everything we eat. Now they're trying to control where we live. I mean, it's all part of the same mindset. These are liberal elitists. They know what's best. And when they're in charge, they're going to try and enforce it on us.
Well, I thank you both for being with us. And I do want people to go, you want to read this stuff, it's crazy. Read the letters from HUD and the Monitor. Go to robastorino.com or to westchestergov.com. Look up housing settlement. You will be frightened of what's going on. Look, we'll be back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show. But first, today's American Moment takes a look at the end of the Revolutionary War with General Cornwallis's surrender at Yorktown.
Exactly 6 years and 6 months after the first shots of the Revolutionary War were fired at Lexington and Concord, General George Washington had spent most of the war evading fixed battles against the superior armed British forces. But Providence intervened. Lieutenant General Lord Cornwallis, commander of British forces in Virginia and second in command of all British forces in the American colonies, had moved into a trap, setting up camp in Yorktown. Located on a peninsula and facing the York River, Cornwallis was easily encircled by Continental Army troops on one side and a powerful French fleet on another. On October 6th, Washington's army, now reinforced with 5,500 French troops, were making preparations for their planned assault on the 9th. At the same time, a French fleet, numbering 28 ships of the line, had prevented any chance of a British escape by water. By mid-month, the British were cut off from their supply lines, denying them much-needed food and ammunition. With his forces suffering heavy casualties from Washington's continual artillery bombardment, and knowing his reinforcements were still weeks away, Lord Cornwallis did the unthinkable. He surrendered his forces to what had been called a band of rabble, effectively ending America's war for independence. The date was the 19th of October, 1781. With the signing of the Treaty of Paris in 1783, the war officially came to a close, with America's sovereignty secured and its territories bordered by Canada to the north, Florida to the south, and the Mississippi River to the east. For Newsmax TV, I'm Bill Curtis, and this is an American Moment.